In this case, a facility was proposed in a shopping centre in Perth to provide services to people living with HIV/AIDS. Because this does not fall within the zoning definition of shopping, council approval was required. The town planner recommended that the application should be approved, but the council voted by majority to reject the application. Councillors made public statements that their refusal was based on what they referred to as the AIDS factor. IW, who had HIV/AIDS, along with a range of others, applied to the Discrimination Commissioner for a finding that they had been discriminated against. The Commission agreed, as did the Supreme Court. The full court reversed this and found for the council. On appeal to the High Court, the key issue was whether under the WA statute the approval process was a service, because WA law prohibited discrimination in the provision of a service. Like all other Australian jurisdictions, Western Australia had provisions requiring a purposive interpretation of statutes. Justices Brennan and McHugh stated, Section 18 of the Interpretation Act 1984 WA requires preference to be given to the construction of a written law that would promote the purpose or object underlying that law. One of the objects of the Act is to eliminate, so far as is possible, discrimination against persons on the ground of impairment in the area of services. Consequently, the provisions of the Act should, as far as possible, be given a construction that would eliminate discrimination on the ground of impairment. However, they then limited this idea, saying that the definition of a word still had to be read by reference to the rest of the statute. They said, because of the restricted terms of a particular statute, even a purposive and beneficial construction of its provisions will not always be capable of applying to acts that most people would regard as discriminatory. Applying this, they found that while the provision of an approval process was a service, the provision of an actual approval was a matter for deliberation by the council as an elected body. It was therefore not within the definition of a service, and so the council succeeded. From this case, we learn that while statutes should be interpreted according to any stated objects or purposes, those objects should be considered in the context of the statute as a whole.